So when you are using Canva, just have an open mind to things kind of moving around. It's always progressing and always getting bigger. I am using Canva Pro right now. I'm going to show you something that will help if you're in free. Um, but this is what I have, and so this is what you get to see. Um, so I just have a few projects here that I have used for printing recently. I'm actually going to pull down here to this one. Um, so this is for an aesthetics order I have coming up, and they wanted kind of a mock-up of a cookie design. Um, and it's a short turnaround. I'm leaving town next week. I have Easter pre-orders, but I wanted to fit in this order if it could be printed. And so, I am going to do a watercolor background for them, and I'll do that by hand. But they wanted kind of, just an image to see what that might look like. So I sent them this, and then they wanted some logo cookies, and so this is one of them. But I wanted to show you how I got this one, and I touched on this in my core class. So I'm just going to add a page here. And this toolbar over here is really nice. Usually you play in elements. I feel like that's where most of the things are. You have text, you have your branding kit and everything that goes along with that, your uploads, tools I don't use very much. But then you can come down here to apps, and you can kind of search for these apps that they don't download to your computer. They just work within Canva. And so there is one that I use often. And I think it is, if you guys don't already know about this and use it, I think it's going to be a game changer. It's called Brand Fetch Logo. So this, and once you click on it, then it's going to come down and be here in your in one of these buttons on this menu. But I'm just going to, all you need to do is type in a website, click on it, and it's going to pull those PNGs for you. So you don't have to go to the website and search around. So that's how I got this logo image right here. I didn't go to the website. I just went to Brand Fetch. So I find that is, when I'm doing corporate orders, that is one of the best uses of Canva, is that Brand Fetch thing. And I'll show you. So I used CookieCon as an example. I think they're .net. And again, you can see it comes up so quickly, but you can also then, it will give you the hex codes. I actually don't feel like that's right, but I know that Cool Sculpting. Okay, so here are some hex codes that are in there. Branding, and then some images. So I just love that, like, they give you so much information about the business that you might be doing work for. So, and then you can see I just put a really faint blue line because it's going to be printed on a cookie, and I wanted to make sure that it was centered and not kind of like going over over my printing area. Let's see. Debbie, you're going to let me know if there's questions, right? Hopefully. Okay.
Sorry, I muted myself. Yes, I will.
Okay, awesome. So that's one of the things that I did. And to get this line art, I think I just searched Botox in Elements. Let me show you what that looks like. Yeah, so there are photos, but for this line art, it was just the first one here. You can see here that it is pro, But if you were in the free version, what you could do is you could do a filtered search and you can press this toggle up here. We're going to scroll down and just click free. And so now it is showing you the graphics that are free. Here are the photos that are free. So obviously a lot of those are pro. Um, and if you wanted a certain color, then you could press on that. But I do love using a filtered search. Another way to do that is to come up here to these three dots, and you're going to see the title, who it was made by. It's free for Canva Pro. That's the licensing, and then maybe some like keywords that it would come up. But then you can also hit see more like this, or you can go to the creator. So we're going to just do see more like this, and it's going to give you more options that are similar to that line art, right? If I go back here, view more by this creator, and then I could search beauty, and now it's giving me more art that looks similar to what I have found. And I think that one of the biggest mistakes I see in printing is not necessarily a printing mistake, but it is a design choice mistake in that you're using multiple different styles of graphics. And so this is a great way to make sure that everything is very cohesive. So there was another image that I had found, and they decided to just go with this one, but I made sure that both of those images were similar, right? Because I want things to really stay cohesive within what I'm creating. So, and again, this means that it's pro. And if you're in the free version, then you can purchase just individual elements. So if you wanted to use this one, when you came to download it, it would say $2 or $1 or whatever it is, and you could purchase that element to be able to use it. So just because you're just, if you're using free Canva, and there are over 3 million photos and graphics for you to use within the free version of Canva, but you can purchase individual elements if that is more your speed. I know Debbie uses Canva all the time. I'm assuming if you're here, then you either use Canva or want to use Canva.
Yeah, so we have a question for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, every time I talk, I want to cough, so we're going to go quick.
Okay.
If you have, Lisa asked, if you have a certain cookie cutter that you want to create an image of your own to fit inside, not a picture copied, how would you do that? And basically, what she wants to print the image that her cookie cutter is, and I'm not sure if that's something you can cover here if there's enough time, or we can do that on another live because that's kind of a course in itself.
It is. And it's something that I, number one, haven't done before. Number two, it's not possible only within Canva. So, what you have to do is you have to exchange file formats a couple times to be able to then do that within Canva. So Canva doesn't have that ability yet. It's something that I did a lot of research on for my core class because I want it to be there, right? To have a template that looks exactly like your cutter size. But I'll or a frame, creating a frame that you could then apply a picture to in that cutter frame, cutter style and design. So unfortunately, it is kind of complex. I know it can be done. I haven't done it personally myself, and kind of going in and out of Canva is not my specialty. My specialty is just within Canva. Does that make sense?
Well,
Debbie, do you agree?
I think Stacy was actually designing a course available on that
Perfect. Yeah.
because that's really its own thing.
Yeah. yeah, and exchanging file formats, that sounds hard. And I don't do hard. I only do things that are easily accessible. But let me see if I have a cutter shape in my uploads. You guys get to see all my uploads. Oh, look, there's icing images. Um,
And while you're doing that, Catherine asked if your core Canva course is available. Like, do you have a course specifically for that?
I don't have it. I gave it to, the attendees, but I'm not sure how I feel about selling it yet. So
Yeah,
um,
that's
I'm not sure. I have it. I don't know what to do with it yet. Um, so I'm going to take this. This is just a screenshot of a cutter from LCW Cookie Cutter. She was another one of my sponsors. And so I've just taken a screenshot. And here is where things get tricky because we don't want to steal uh, artwork or licensing or, you know, um, people's IP. So, uh, do this with caution and um, with integrity. So, you can just remove the background. So I'm going to do that. There we go. And then I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to scroll down to effects and go to shadows. And then I'm going to go to outline. And the intensity is at 100. I'm going to remove that Cora outline. But, now I've made an outline of this shape. So then I'm going to come back here, make sure it's highlighted, hit edit again. And I'm going to hit magic eraser. And this is all within Pro. I'm going to hit click. And I'm just going to highlight the whole thing. Hit erase. And then exit out, and it has this outline for me. Then it's funny. I actually did this in one of the tutorials, I think, and I did not have it. Didn't highlight the chorus, so we're just going to see if this works. Now I'm just using the brush to kind of just get rid of that. Let's see if that works. No, it didn't. Okay, well, in theory, this could work. And it's so weird that it worked once, but not the other time. But, we can use our imaginations. We could also just come over here. Actually, if you just hit C on your keyboard, you get a circle, and then you can, do this. So I'm doing this very manually, which is not ideal. But okay, here we have a cutter shape. Let me just, if you highlight both, you can group. So then within this cutter shape, you could, add a background, you could add text, but you might have some overspray, overprinting, if you're printing on that specific cutter. Does that make sense? So that's one way of doing things. It's, again, kind of tricky with IP. Want to be very respectful of people's creations. So let me know if there's any questions about that.
going through. Sorry to
Nope, you're
see.
okay.
Where is that question? Does it make a difference whether you use outline or glow? They both basically do the same, right?
So
Question
glow
mark.
will give you kind of a shadow and you can adjust it. I don't see why you wouldn't just use outline though, because then you don't
Yeah,
need to adjust the shadow part of it.
yeah, outline makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then if you're looking for something that's very specific that you guys want to do and you need some tutoring type things, both Dr. Susie and Edible Tech Guru do that for people. So
Oh,
when you
good.
want some
That's a good
one-on-one time,
resource.
yeah. And
That's
is that something
awesome.
you offer as well?
Not right now.
Okay,
My hands are pretty full
pretty full. Yeah, I
with
understand.
everything that goes on. So I wanted though, I don't know if you guys have covered repeating backgrounds. Um, but I am doing, I should have grabbed it. I have it somewhere. I'm doing these printed bunnies for my Easter pre order. And so it's just, the shape of a bunny and then a little ribbon that I pipe around his neck. And I gave the option in my pre order for different colors. So, as I'm just scrolling my mouse here, you can see that these are actually individual. So this is just one image that I found. And then I made it smaller and I duplicated it to create a full page so that it was a little bit of a smaller print. And then I found different ones all within like kind of that same artwork. Again, I did a filtered search to make sure that everything was kind of within the same vibe and style. And the great thing about these is that you can change the color of them. So there are photos and then graphics. And in graphics, you can change colors, to customize that. In photos, it is not, you cannot change colors easily. You can change colors, but not as easily as graphics. So I just, found some repeating backgrounds and then changed the colors and offered them to my clients as options. And I love that idea because, you know, they're, I just feel like this is such a good option for customization that's really easy. Because I can just download this and just be like, okay, I need 6 of the green and 8 of the blue, and just makes it really easy that way.
How did you make it duplicate?
Oh, yeah.
Did I miss
Let me
it?
show
Because
you.
I'm trying to answer questions too, so I'm like, wait, did I miss that?
Yeah, yeah. Just for the viewers, I don't see any of the questions. I'm just looking at my screen.
Okay.
So,
No, you're
um,
good. I have questions for you, but we'll get to them as we're going around. I
okay,
pace them.
sounds good. Okay, so I'm just going to add a new page and let's pretend that we just searched for that element and we found it. And it's going to kind of show up kind of big in our, on our project. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to corner this and make it smaller. Then I'm going to hit duplicate here. And I'm just going to push it over. And then if you continue to hit duplicate, it will actually line up exactly the measurements that you duplicated things earlier. But I'm going to do a square. And I don't know if you guys can see these guidelines here too. It just is trying to help you make sure that everything is aligned. So then I'm just going to highlight all of them and hit group. And then I'm going to come and I'm just going to make this a quarter of the project size and then hit duplicate again, and duplicate again. And then I have like a repeating background that, is a little bit more intricate than just the image on its own. So let me show you that image again. So you can tell that it's a repeating background because of the way things are cut. So took that image and just made it repeat there.
It's a pretty image.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And like I said, I can adjust the color. And I played around with the color quite a bit to try and make it all within my color palette. So that's a really dark purple, and it doesn't show up quite as well as a lighter purple does. So
Those are pretty.
and all of these are
I,
different. I don't know if you guys saw that.
so Dr. Susie had a question. She wanted to know what is the feature you use most on Canva?
Hmm. That is a good idea. I mean, a good question. I would say I use it most for like announcements for my classes. Um, so um,
But which
so this is
feature, like, I mean, obviously
oh
there's text, you use the repeating
yes,
background. For me, I use remove backgrounds a lot.
a lot.
Um,
Yeah. I would say doing that filtered search um for similar elements. So this is an image I used in my core class, and was for my it was for a client. But all of these are actually individual elements. You can see I grouped them, but all of these are individual elements, but I really wanted them to be within the same style. Um, Again, I think that's important when creating a cohesive look. And you can go down here to info, and let's go to the creator. And what I just did was I just typed in, I think, doodle. Yeah. And it showed me all of the um, similar graphics. So you can see there's a few like this, like Andy Warhol style imagery, but then there are these marker ones that really stood out to me, and I was able to use to create this really cohesive pattern that I then printed as just a background on the back on a cookie. And then so this was like kind of like this punk rock Valentine's Day set. And I wanted marker without having to do like the individual marker, right? And so I really wanted these to kind of look angsty and markery, as if you were just like, doodling on your Converse shoe in high school. And then I piped a white heart over it. So yeah, that's definitely my most used feature, is trying to find things to make it cohesive. That's a good
so
question. Also, I met Dr. Susie at CookieCon.
Dottie wants to know how you export the designs out of Canva.
Yes. So this is actually, I feel like this is a big question, and it's actually very simple.
Yeah.
But because it doesn't say download, it confuses us. So you're going to hit share, which is over here, and then download. And then you can, use whatever format. You said that yours takes a JPEG or a
So,
PNG.
oh, sorry about that. The blue takes a JPEG.
Okay,
Um,
so
yeah, but all the other edible paper printers, you can use pretty much anything else.
yeah. And then you can adjust quality here. You can see that's a um, pro one, but if you were trying to fit within um, some sort of quality guide, same with size, you can make it larger or smaller. You can also limit it. So when you're uploading to like websites, sometimes you'll have like a an upload limit. So I like that you can do that. Again, that's a pro feature. And here you can see I'm saving $7 on premium elements. So if I didn't have pro, then I would just purchase. And then you just download, and you can see here it's downloading. And then you can see here that it's downloaded to my computer, and then I would just upload it into the printing program. I wanted to show you guys another one that I worked on. I actually just posted it yesterday on my Instagram and Facebook, and it was this blue tile and lemon themed set. And so I looked for a tile pattern that I actually wanted to pipe the tile. I wanted there to be some dimension, but I wanted to print the pattern so that I could, then pipe on top of it. I don't know if you guys use your printers as in place of a projector, but I also would say that that is something that I do a lot in Canva. And so I, found a tile pattern that was simple enough, and then just printed this on to my cookies in a really light color, light blue, and then was able to pipe directly on that. Same thing with this image for a different order. I was able to
Yeah,
print
that's a really
this,
good idea. Like just to
and
pipe
then
right over it. We do that some.
yeah. So I'm a dimension person, and so I use printing when I as a shortcut when I can. But if I have time, I'll use it as kind of a projector type of thing. And then I also did this watering can. I actually think I did an outline of that. And so let me show you what I would do for that. Again, just a refresher. I don't know why mine is it's picking up all of the stuff. Usually it only does the outline. So anyways, but then I just printed the outline. So I was able to, then just pipe on top of it. So here's another example. This was a hybrid print and pipe. And so this is the Chicago skyline. Let me see. Yeah, it's on low transparency. So I wanted the logo to be printed, but then I wanted Chicago to be piped. And so I just lowered that transparency till it was pretty low, but enough that I would see it on a print. So then I could then print, have that logo be printed and then pipe and flood the skyline below it.
So the background, sorry,
Go for it.
the, the backgrounds. Oh gosh, my dogs, they've been quiet all day. I so apologize. Um, my backgrounds, the backgrounds you can get in two places on Canva, right?
So yes, let's go here again because this is like very backgroundy. So when I'm adding a page, it's just like I just am getting a fresh screen for you guys. So, a lot of times I'll just search here and I'll just I'll search for a background. And so
So they have a app you can click on backgrounds, but I find that that is limiting compared to where you are in the
Just
elements, that the
Canva
elements is the
search.
best place.
Yeah, for sure. So something like this, I love. And I especially love it because so the dark teal you can't change manually, but you could change these other things. Um, and so I love finding a background like that. And then I also love these magic recommendations. It's like, if you like this, then you might like this. And, these are two different ones, but again, it's a floral background. It looks like it's a repeating pattern, and I can adjust the colors. Um, so I love finding backgrounds there. And then you can upload images that you get on Etsy or that you create on Procreate, stuff like that. You can also go up into design. And so let's say you like this wavy checker, but you don't need this. You can delete these things. You don't have to use everything in a template, and you can just use, that background that they have for you. So yeah, I was going to say, I think you can edit the color on this one. Again, these are just what we have, what I have here.
So
you
if
know
you go into edit, sorry,
it's okay.
um, if you are if you have an image that you can't adjust the colors, if you go under
Yes,
edit,
and duotone.
and yeah, that's where I play around
Yep.
with the colors,
Yep.
duotone,
um
and then the filters as well.
I also wanted to show you so something, and this is just a style preference. Some people like really crisp, clear images that look nothing like airbrush. I happen to actually love the airbrush look. But what I do sometimes to kind of grunge down my images is I go to, what do I call it? Like a spatter. No, that's more blood. Speckle, I think that's what yep. Okay, so I go to speckle, and it's hard to see. But I will, that one has a lot of colors. Let's not do that one. I'm going to say see all. Okay, something like this. Okay. I'm just going to come here. I'm going to adjust the color to be that same color as one of our backgrounds. And I'll print it like that. I like the look of it being like a little messy, a little not quite perfect. And then you know what you could do, even if you wanted even more, you could shrink that down, then duplicate it, have it be a more intensified look. But I don't know. I just love the look of things being not quite perfect, right? So it just gives it a little more interest.
And you can adjust that too through the transparency to make it kind of lighter if you
Yeah.
want it lighter.
Yep. Exactly. So I just toggle this up here. Um, Again, you can play around with colors and stuff like that. But I do like using that feature. Again, just like using speckle. Or I've used like brush marks, just to kind of make things look a little bit more interesting.
Okay, we have another question from Kathy. She
Yeah.
asks, when you have a background with white in it, does the white print, or would you flood the cookie white and all the colors but white print?
Um, I
All
think
the
you should
colors.
flip it.
Yeah.
It'll print white.
No, 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 no. We don't have a white ink in our
Yeah,
industry, no matter
yeah,
which printer you have.
yeah,
So it's all about you use the colors to print over the white and
yeah,
let your cookie be the white palette,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. I agree. And I think, um, I guess white is the easiest to use because you don't have to add anything to your icing. So if you ever have extra white icing, just bag it up and put it in your freezer, because you can use that for anything and everything. Um, and I just find that, yeah, a white flood. If you have a colored flood, then I don't know. I just feel like the color you print is going to be then tainted and
Yeah,
adjust
you got to think like
to that
when you
hue.
were in kindergarten, and you're drawing on a
Yeah.
easel. The easel's always white.
Yes. Yes. A white background is definitely easier. And then also doing something like this, that's actually a lot of white background. But there's a lot of interest. And I think that, if you're being conscious of the amount of ink that you're using, doing something with a lot of white in the background is going to make your ink stretch farther as well.
So now I don't know if you know this, but sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. So with the image you have up there right now,
Hmm.
if you use remove background, it will
Will it then
remove the white.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
then
know.
you can download it as a PNG, um, and you can click transparent background.
Yeah.
Um,
And so
and
then just that color, but you can also
oh,
change
but
the
then you could,
background
yes,
color.
then you could change the background color. I see where you're going
Yeah,
with that.
you following me.
So, um,
You can
so yeah,
you can group them, I think,
so then you can click here, and
and you're
let's just say
changing that.
you're going to do like a cream color. Then yeah,
Yep. See how it changed that? I love doing that. So
yeah, yeah, that's nice. And then, if you were doing I'm just going to put this off to the side right here. Um,
you can
and you
add your
can
speckles.
this. Yeah, yeah, you can add your speckles. I was also going to say, so I want it reversed. Here we go. So shadows are also something I like to use. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger then because it's curved.
Oh,
Um,
this is a good idea.
then adjusting that transparency pretty low.
This
And
is a
then
great idea. I know what you're doing. This is cool.
let's position this back.
So
Okay.
where she was at right
Oh my
now was the
gosh.
layers. You got it.
Yep,
There you
there we
go.
go.
And it just gave it dimension.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Um, so yeah, let me show you guys that. So position, and so you can arrange and you can say, I want this to go backwards or I want it to go forwards. But sometimes it's nice to have that visual of where things are. So you can then just use your mouse and you can see when it's on top, it's more intensified than if it's behind that image.
I love that. Lisa does
Yeah,
too.
good. And then I also let's say you wanted some text in the middle. You could either put let's just do that actually. So you could make maybe a circle. And I'm just doing this by finding the guidelines, but you could also go to position and arrange and do middle center. But then I'm just going to hit T for text. Let's say this is for a wedding cookie, right? You can come up here and change the font to whatever you'd like. I'm picky about fonts. I don't like that one, but we're just going to go with it because it doesn't matter because it's fake. And then you can see here that it's pulled some of the colors you've used, and then this is the colors within the photo. So let's do this lighter one. And again, you can adjust the transparency here to like kind of just like create some interest, brighten it. So that's one way of doing this. But let's say you can go to edit. We're going to go to that magic eraser again. And I am just going to kind of just erase things in that circle area. And I would use this, again, you can do a circle, but I just kind of want to show you what this looks like. And I do this when I have things that are like kind of like overlapping in and between things. So, you can then write something here. So anyways, you can use those Magic Studio tools in a lot of different ways. And those are all right here, and they're all pro. So I will say Magic Expand is trash. Every time I've used it, it is so wrong. So I wouldn't recommend that one, but
Yeah, you can only use it for small areas at a time. You can't use it a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
Um,
I had like a photo and I just wanted, it was like a recipe photo. So, I had cookies in one and I wanted, it just to expand some ingredients, and it was so bad. So,
Real quick, a couple quick questions.
mhm.
So, Kathy wants to learn how to just start with a blank page. So, even just the
Oh,
basic,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So when we go to Canva, we'll get this screen here. And so these three items are going to be your most used sizes. Um, but you can also search here. So if you were, let's say, doing, a Facebook post, that's the size you were looking on. You can create a blank Facebook post over here, or there's many options. So I'm giving you all the options. You can go over here and you can browse by category. So let's do a flyer, just create a blank flyer. These templates are great if you are looking for something if you're not coming up with ideas on your own, like that's definitely, start out just playing with them. But so most of the time though, I'm usually toggling between these three. And so I'll just click on one and a brand new project comes up. And you're just seeing me what, I was doing in the past was just adding a new page, which is a really lazy way of just like getting a new project. And it doesn't work when you're
I
trying to
use it for
organize
versions.
things.
Yeah, I use it for versions and then like themes.
Yeah.
If I'm doing, I do my emails, you see, I do most of the graphics in Canva. And so I'll take one page, and then everything I
Just
do
edit
for
it.
that whole project is in on a
Yep.
different page. So
Yeah. I have, let's see, my class image. This is one that I use, and it's just multiple pages. So just my classes that I do, and they're all
those are
kind of the
cute.
same style. So,
I like the way you do
um,
things there. It's clear.
thanks. Yes. And then you can also do a custom size. So when I am working, especially with printed cookies, what I'll do is I'll just do the size of the cookie. So let's say we're just doing a rectangle. Just hit create new design. And now that template, that project size is the 3.5 by 2.5 inches. And then um, let's say, okay, so for example, this, let's say, you needed this to be 1.8 inches. When you size it here, you can get, you can see in that little gray box that it shows you how big it is. So you can make sure that it's appropriately sized for your cookie. You can also go here, I think. Where is it?
Isn't it under position?
Yes, you're right. And you can put in the exact measurements. Thanks for knowing where that was. I
I
was like,
used
I
it
know
all
it's
the
somewhere.
time.
I just don't use it very often. I just use
Yeah, I
this.
wish I could
That's
keep position up all the time because you can jump between the layers and the
yes,
sizes.
yes.
That would be
That is
awesome. I'm
one
sure
thing
that.
that, yeah.
Um, so Donna wants to know if you can download fonts from other sites, or I guess upload into
Yes.
Canva.
Yeah, you
I don't know.
can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
I didn't know that. I'm glad I didn't answer her.
Um, or last I checked, you could. So especially in your branding kit, so you see all. Let's go here. We're gonna go to your branding kit. And this just houses um, everything that is within your brand. So your colors, your hex codes, your logos. Um, yeah, upload a font.
Oh,
So,
looky there. Cool. That's
so
awesome.
you might be able to do it in the work page, but I think that, I mean, I just knew you could do it
Yeah,
here. So
that's cool. Renee has a good question. How do you organize your projects?
I'm so bad at that.
Me too.
Okay. I am not good at it. Um, but let me show you. So I just went over to
I use
projects over
folders a
here,
lot. I use folders a lot and still disorganized.
and you can see here, I just have made some folders that don't have many items in them because I'm terrible at using folders. But um, so these are all my templates, and I was really good at putting them all in a folder. But let's go to home, and what you can do is just hover over and move to a folder, and you can create a new folder, or you can put it in the folder that it's supposed to be in. So, and then when it's moved to folder, then you'll have like, it'll show up, I think, a little thing. Oh, yeah, look, this one says brand template. And it used to sit like hover and be like, this one's under family. It actually just updated the day before my core class. Um, so that may have been, but let's say this, I'm going to move this to a folder. I'm just going to create a new folder.
Yeah, you can be as organized or not as you want to be.
Yeah.
Like me.
I will
Not.
say, when I was in Cookie Butter, we were supposed to organize our emails, and I never did.
I never
I'm
did.
one of those people that does not have email folders, and it will never be organized. I'm too far in at this point. So, um,
So,
so
but
yeah.
you can search too. There's a search bar. So for
Yes,
me,
yes, yes. You can search.
that's important, especially if you're like me. I make sure I have keywords in everything that I save.
Yes, yes. So I just typed class, and it is pulling up everything that has class, everything that you know
Yeah.
I've created that says class. So
Awesome. Donna wanted to know if we have any idea what's going to be in the new launch. We have no clue.
Nope. They're having a
But they,
huge event. It's in LA. I think the tickets are sold out. I know one cookier is going. I don't know who she is. She told me at CookieCon. So if that's you, that's pretty cool. But you can watch the launch. That's why it says registered now. And I'm signed up for it. AI is really big. I would assume that that's something that they're going to be touching on. They like to reorganize things, so we have to learn things from the very beginning again. Not the very beginning. Canva's very intuitive. Um, but they'll probably move things around. There's going to be a new button here. That's why it says coming soon. Um,
well, they've
so
changed everything, or I shouldn't change. They add so many things all the time that to me, a
yeah,
launch isn't really a launch because they're always launching new things,
it's just
you
an
know?
update. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so much fun to go on and go, oh, what's this new button? And you play
Yeah,
with it.
so all of this is new within the last 2 weeks. All of these buttons. So, they're just always evolving, and I think that's one thing is that this is so expansive that there are going to be things that that I haven't even explored yet, right?